The world isn't what your eyes see. It's what your mind makes of what you see. Two people step into the same moment. One spots a door and walks through. The other stares at a wall and stops. The difference isn't fate or luck. The difference is the interpreter inside their head. When you upgrade that interpreter, the same life feels lighter, choices feel clearer, and progress stops being a miracle and starts being a rhythm. This book is not a loud pep talk about forcing the world to obey you. It's a quiet manual for updating the mental operating system that decides how you meet the world. Everything you want to change on the outside begins with a change in the way you process the inside. Inputs become thoughts. Thoughts shape feelings. Feelings fuel actions. Actions create outcomes. Most of us try to wrestle outcomes while leaving thoughts and feelings untouched. That is why effort feels like swimming upstream. Flip the flow. Change the story your mind tells about what's happening, and the feeling changes. When the feeling changes, moving your feet becomes easier, and when moving is easier, results show up with less drama. Start where the brain actually starts, with the body. A rested brain pays attention. A hydrated brain makes better choices. A body that has moved a little is already whispering yes to the day. Before you demand motivation from yourself, give your biology a head start. Breathe slowly. Drink water. Step into a patch of light. Loosen the neck and shoulders. Your mind does not float above your body. It rides inside it, and it borrows its energy. Now, point your attention like a spotlight instead of spraying it like a fire hose. Attention is currency. Spend it where it multiplies. The first minutes of your morning are like seed money. If you invest them in a frantic scroll, you purchase scattered thinking for the next few hours. If you invest them in a simple intention and a small, doable action, you purchase momentum. The label you place on the first challenge matters as well. Call it a disaster and your body tenses. Call it training and your curiosity wakes up. Reality didn't change. The label did, and the label changed your chemistry. The mind adores repetition, so give it repetitions that serve you. Great big bursts feel heroic, but what roots into identity are the small moves you repeat until they feel like home. Write a sentence. Push the project one brick forward. Ask one important question. The first win of the day doesn't need to be loud. It needs to be real and easy to repeat tomorrow. Identity is the quiet engine under every habit. We behave like the kind of person we believe we are. You do not need to wait for a new identity to descend from the sky. You can carve one by hand. Choose a short line that describes your future self in present tense. I start before I feel ready. I protect my focus window. I finish what I start. Keep it where you'll see it. Prove it each day with one small action. Identity isn't a poster on a wall. Identity is a receipt you collect. Language is the remote control for the brain. Ask, why am I like this? And you will find 1,000 reasons to stay the same. Ask, what am I learning now? And your mind leans forward. Say, I can't, and you train helplessness. Say, how can I, on a smaller scale, and you train creativity. You don't have to lie to yourself. You do have to stop programming your mind with questions that pin you to the floor. When a thought blocks you, don't argue endlessly with it. Put it on paper. Turn it from a fact into a belief. Once it's a belief, you're free to look for counterexamples. You'll notice moments where you already did the thing you claim you can't do. Gather those moments like scrap gold. Then soften the belief with 2 words that keep hope alive. For now. I haven't reached the target for now. I'm not efficient with this tool for now. The brain hears that path is open and begins to walk it. Confidence is not a feeling you beg for. Confidence is a side effect of evidence. At the end of each day, log tiny wins. A half-page written, a message sent, a conversation scheduled. You don't need fireworks. You need receipts. Weeks later, you will find yourself speaking with a quieter certainty, Not because a guru hypnotized you, but because your notebook turned into proof. Treat focus like a sacred appointment. Give yourself a deep work window early in the day before other people's plans invade your mind. Remove the phone from the room. Turn off notifications. Open only the file you need. Write a one-sentence target for the session. Work in short, honest pulses with brief rests. Close the session by writing what moved, what blocked you, and the first line you will start with next time. This isn't a ritual for perfectionists. It's a simple throttle for the modern brain, letting it do what it was built to do without getting yanked by alarms. When the inner critic shows up, don't try to silence it by shouting. Give it a neutral name. Nod to it like an unhelpful coworker and move your hands anyway. Yes, I'm nervous, and my next line is already on the page. Nervousness is not the enemy of progress. Inaction is. Feed your mind with intention. A short page in the morning beats 1,000 stray opinions throughout the afternoon. A minute of executable visualization sets your first step. Then you actually take that step. Visualization is a bridge, not a shortcut. Let it lead directly into motion. Design your environment so the right choice is the easy choice. Keep the tools for today's task within arm's reach. Leave the working file open from last night so you don't face a cold start. Clear the desk of visual noise. Make distraction less convenient than the work. This is not about willpower. This is about architecture. Create gentle rules that trigger action. Link a behavior to a time and a place. At my desk after coffee, I open the project and write the introduction. Protect yourself with a tiny guardrail. If a distracting app appears, I close it and restart the timer. Start with the smallest usable slice of the task and pay yourself only when you ship a result. Smart rewards teach your brain which behaviors deserve more energy. Think of your day from 3 angles: the season, the day, the next 10 minutes. The season asks who you're becoming. The day asks what a meaningful win is. The next 10 minutes ask what you will actually do now. When you drift, fall back to the smallest lens. A minute of honest work beats an hour of anxious planning. Emotions are signals, not commandments. Name what you feel without drama. Breathe until the body stops screaming. Ask what the feeling is pointing to. Fear might be a request for more data. Anger might be a request to defend a value. Sadness might be a request to care for an unmet need. When the message is heard, the reaction loses its urgency and your choice becomes cleaner. Build circles that lift you rather than drain you. A core circle that knows your plan and is allowed to hold you kindly accountable. A warm circle that hears your weekly progress so momentum doesn't evaporate. A public circle that sees results after the fact so you protect your work from noisy comparisons. Different circles, different rhythms, one direction. On brutal days, judge yourself by what you can control. Count the calls you made, the paragraphs you wrote, the practice you logged. You are not your last score or your last sale. When chaos hits, take a half dose instead of quitting. A short, focused block. One thoughtful paragraph. One clear email that unlocks a decision. Momentum returns when you give it a small on-ramp. You can watch these ideas working in ordinary lives. A student who feared math stopped telling a horror story and started learning a narrow skill band, studied in short, focused sessions, and quizzed herself for 5 minutes at the end. The fear faded. The grade climbed. A freelancer terrified of rejection wrote one friendly opening line and made a handful of daily calls, logging them as proof. Calls became normal. Income followed. A hobby runner who kept quitting abandoned the massive distance fantasy and adopted a tiny movement ritual on waking, adding a little each week. Identity grew around consistency. A team lead suffocating under meetings carved a quiet morning block and pushed conversations to the afternoon. Decisions began to follow evidence again, not noise. Mid-summary invite. If this is landing with you, subscribe to Audiobook Lounge. Every day you'll get a practical, no-nonsense breakdown you can act on immediately with clear ideas, clean steps, and a steady push to keep this mental upgrade installed. What you practice in the mind shows up in every field. In study, the daily win is answered questions you can recall from memory, not pages you glanced at. In freelancing, the win is a billable deliverable shipped before the inbox steals your spine. In fitness, the win is an honest 2 minutes of movement on waking that grows quietly. In personal finance, the win is an automatic transfer that happens whether you feel motivated or not. In relationships, the win is one deep conversation a week instead of constant shallow pings that never reach the truth. Craft a morning map that makes calm your default. Drink water before you read opinions. Breathe deeply until your shoulders drop. Move just enough to wake the system. Write a single sentence that defines today's meaningful outcome. Then step into your focused work before the world starts tugging on your sleeve. You will notice the difference in your tone, in your patience, and in the way small decisions lean your way. Keep a few pocket questions nearby. What result truly matters today and why? What tiny action can I begin right now without permission or perfection? Which inputs will I block so I can hear myself think? Where will my focused window live, and what will I start with? What did I learn today that I can use tomorrow? Those questions act like bumpers on a bowling lane. They keep your attention out of the gutter. If your goals feel far away, shift your strategy from force to focus. Pick a small set of outcomes for the season and identify the actions that actually move them. Each week, back one project that would make the biggest difference if you advanced it. Each day, choose one heavy lifting action supported by a few lighter tasks. Focus is not small ambition. Focus is how big ambitions survive contact with real life. When conflict flares, steer by values rather than ego. Ask what you're actually trying to achieve in this conversation. Ask which tone and which words move you closer. You will find that calm firmness beats volume, and a single sentence that defines the next step beats a page of blame. On the days you feel behind, remember that the brain learns by contrast and repetition. Contrast comes from choosing a clear target and noticing when you move closer. Repetition comes from honest starts that are so small they're hard to skip. Begin quietly. Repeat shamelessly. That is how grooves are cut. When you stumble, switch from judgment to diagnostics. What input knocked me off center? What label spiked my stress? What environment change would make the right move easier tomorrow? You are not broken. Your setup needs tuning. Tuning is a craft, and craft improves with passes, not miracles. Protect your attention like you protect your money. Set message windows so you're not negotiating your day with every buzz. Give the people around you a reliable cadence for responses so you buy back your focus without breaking trust. A little structure makes your kindness sustainable. Let your future self borrow a little help from your current self. Leave a first line ready in the file you'll open tomorrow. Place the tool you'll need within reach and hide the one that tempts you to drift. You are creating friction in the right places and grease in the right places. That is what an engineer would do, and your mind deserves an engineer. The reason this approach works is not mystical. You stop wrestling your own psychology and start redesigning the path beneath your feet. Lower friction and raise clarity, and important work slides into habit. The effect compounds so slowly you won't notice it at first, and then suddenly, everyone else will. Begin inside before you chase the outside. Upgrade your words so they point you forward. Clean your inputs so your attention has somewhere quiet to land. Guard your focus window like a doctor guards an operating room. Keep progress visible so motivation doesn't have to shout. Reward what moves the needle and decline what doesn't, even when it's shiny. Change the thought and the feeling follows. Improve the feeling and the action follows. Improve the action and the results arrive. The mind is everything. Tune it, and the world will start meeting you halfway.